Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. And today we're taking one out I haven't been out in quite some time. I'm bringing my buddy Tyler over because he is the expert on BMW. We are gonna go for a little cruise in this E36. This is an E36 M3 Lightweight, 1995. Very important car in its day, you know what I mean? Really was. And I'm definitely looking forward to driving this. I haven't been in it for a long time. My friend Tyler's gonna walk us through the details because he knows way more about the lineage of the M3 and especially about the E36 M3. He's very knowledgeable on this car. So we're gonna do our usual thing, man. Go for a drive, talk you through all the details, and remind ourselves of just how extraordinary of a car this one is. So hold on, because here we go, man. All right, you guys, here we go for a ride in this beautiful, extraordinarily low mileage 95 BMW E36 M3 Lightweight.
Lightweight, yep, we got it right.
You guys haven't seen my buddy Tyler in quite some time. This is my friend Tyler Vaughn. And why did I bring Tyler along? Well, partially because we haven't shot anything together in quite a while. But the truth is, if you guys have been following the channel, you know I kind of suck at details. Tyler is as opposite as possible. He retains everything he reads, and he reads everything. So I thought it'd be cool because these are such special cars. I thought it'd be really fun to have Tyler kind of do a breakdown for us so we can all understand just how great an E36 really is. So why don't you talk us through what we're driving, dude?
Well, after owning 10 BMWs, I have a little background. I've had the E36 M3 sedan with the rare Modena interior. So this is cool, the Lightweight, a little history of this car. It was, you know, just to bring it around here, so the E36 M3 wasn't going to come to the US at one point. They were saying, you know, we're not going to bring it, the E30 M3 didn't sell that well, etc., etc. So they did end up bringing it, as we know, obviously, but it was a huge weight difference. The E30 M3 is like 2,800 pounds. E36 M3 was 3,250 or so. So people were, the purists were complaining like, okay, we got the car, but now it's too heavy, right? Right. So what they did is they're okay, we'll make a lightweight version. And this kind of was between the E30 M3 and the E36 M3, just the normal one. So this is around 3,000 pounds. Took about 200 off, which is pretty substantial. And so the difference is
as far as power to weight, it becomes substantial, right? Because the car only has what? 240
horse, and I believe 225 torque out of the S50, the 3.0.
Got it.
Which is obviously not the Euro. We didn't get the Euro spec engine. Not even in the Lightweight, we didn't get the Euro spec.
That didn't come to America at all.
Not in the E36 M3, just because of a few reasons. They wanted to keep the cost down because this was an afterthought to bring this car here 2 years after it debuted in Europe. And emissions and stuff like that.
What's the motor in this car?
It's a 3.0 S50 B30. It's a good engine. It was, if you know BMWs, it was pretty much a board and stroke 2.5 M50, which they were using in E36s. So reliable, pretty stout. I mean, these are known to go a few 100,000 miles. They're known to, you know, be a solid engine. They're actually a lot less money to maintain than the Euro spec engines. Because you don't have the solid lifters, you don't have individual throttle bodies, they're just less strained and stuff, cheaper parts.
Got it.
So they get
so it's a 3-liter 6-cylinder motor. It's making 240
horse, 225 torque.
Is the transmission in here different than what's in the Lightweight? Or
ZF5 speed is the same transmission as they had the US E36 M3. And at that time, even the Euro version, until they went to 6-speed. But the diff was different. They put in the E36 M3 Lightweight, they put a 3.23 diff instead of a 3.15. So a little shorter gearing to help make the engine feel a little torquier. Yeah. And these engines were hand-picked. So take it as you may, whatever that means by BMW.
And what's up with the gearbox? Because this is possibly the smoothest shift I've ever experienced in a manual trans car.
That's as far as I know, and you know, there's a lot of little details to this car. I think the shifter was stock. Maybe someone will correct me, but I don't think they changed the shifter on the Lightweight.
Okay.
Or, you know, unless this car is modified.
You know what I mean? They're just buttery to shift.
They're very easy to shift. You know, BMW's kind of been known to be a little bit, they call it rubbery at times, but they're super easy, as you can drive all day long, and
yeah, totally.
You won't miss the gear or anything like that. You know, one of the cool stories I think about this car is when you got the car delivered from BMW, first of all, it went from Germany to Virginia, where PTG, they did the decals and stuff like that.
Got it.
And then from Virginia to the dealers. And then when you opened up the trunk the day you pick up the car, you had this huge spoiler, which you can probably see in the mirror.
It's so gigantic,
Yeah.
dude. The wing on this thing is
Nuts.
massive.
And so it's illegal, technically. It's not like US spec legal or whatever. So they had the extra tall spoiler, the extra front splitter,
Right.
and it came with an aluminum oil pan with a double pump pickup from the Euro engine. That always came in the trunk with a piece of paper. It said, you can have this, but if you want it, you have to avoid your warranty by signing it, and if you're going to install it.
Unbelievable.
That's pretty badass. Like,
Yeah.
you don't get that stuff any longer.
No.
That's kind of like, you know, this is how we get around regulation stuff. Just, you know, sign it off and you're good to go. The bigger thing being these were the lightweight wheels that everybody loves. If you have an E36 M3, this is like the wheel to have. They look good, they're light, and they're forged, they're strong. Speaking of light things, how did they get the 200 pounds? I think that's, you know, how did they get that off a modern day, relatively in the 90s of airbags and stuff? Yeah. So the aluminum doors, that was a big thing instead of steel. Okay. The lighter weight wheels, no AC as we can see in this car, no stereo, though it still had the front speakers, funny enough.
Right.
Because it's probably cheaper to keep it in the door card.
It seems like to me, I mean, I don't know enough about the history of it, but it seems like this car was kind of made that it's really meant to be out of the gate a sport car. It's not this is not, I mean, with no AC, no stereo.
It's kind of like the GT3 for a 911, but not as hardcore.
Yeah.
But kind of the same concept. Like, we're going to give you something that we're going to take stuff away and charge you more. Got it. Which is the Porsche way.
Got it.
So, yeah, it was really for the purist. Yeah. And, you know, for a long time, I had a bit of a hard time understanding it because I was like, okay, 200 pounds, and what does this thing cost, right? You know, they went, you know, in terms of how they've retained their value, but now I kind of get it because they only made about 125 of them, so it's a story you're buying, and you're.
How much was this car brand new? Do you know?
I actually have to check. I want to say it's in the 40s somewhere, mid-40s.
And now this car is 100-ish?
Yeah, now the low mileage ones like this, which only has 14,000 on it.
14,700.
I've seen these on auctions going in 100 plus, 120, 150. It's a lot for an E36 M3, but you're buying into a cool story, a piece of history.
Totally.
You know, if you have a collection of cars, obviously you can afford it, right? Not your sole car. You're like, I'm going to have this among my 10 or 20 other cars I want to have a piece of history with. Right. Which is cool. It had carbon fiber trim inside, that was ahead of its time.
Way ahead of its time.
It had, these chairs were special seats. They were cloth with the M-Tech, like material.
Yeah.
You know, and there's what else? No sunroof, obviously. They did have rear seats in this. No cruise control. And I know there's going to be a few other things I'm forgetting. No armrest was another thing.
It's funny, little details. Like I'm noticing stuff like this, like the stitching around the steering wheel.
Yeah.
But it's pretty, you know what I mean? It's to mix the red and blue to the BMW colors, mix it into the stitching rather than a single color.
Right.
I mean, it's so 90s, the styling of this interior.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's really dated at this point.
Yep.
It's cool though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's super cool, but it's definitely dated.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a period piece, and I think that's why they've gone up in value. Because once again, you're buying something, maybe it's your nostalgia, you're buying something that has a cool story that, you know, BMW Car Club of America people fought for, and like, oh, I want this, and so forth. And that's what you're really getting. You're not getting some insanely hardcore car, but it's still cool. And,
totally. It's a momentum car.
This
is one car. Like you gotta, to keep it going fast, you'd have to have real driving skills.
I mean, we're so spoiled now because we have instant power of turbos and superchargers. Like, just literally put it down. You don't have to wait for power bands. Right. The power band is everywhere. But you take this out to the canyons, and you have to bust out the skills, and you have to keep the engine wound up, and you have to work it. And your smile, I think, will be a lot bigger with a naturally aspirated engine like this than just something that's instant power, where it doesn't take any skill. You just punch it and you go. Right.
So this car in its day, I mean, we didn't have big horsepower cars in those days.
We really didn't. This was the era of where the Germans and to even the Japanese would really flex their muscles and show, hey, we'll take small compact engines and punch out decent power and make them nearly as quick as these big powered American. This thing would walk a Mustang GT all day long in 95.
Right.
That 5.0 back then in 95, I think in the SN95 chassis was 215 horse, if I'm correct, and 15 seconds flat in the quarter mile, give or take. This was about 14 seconds flat, or low 14s in the quarter mile, and almost about 100 or so. That's not bad at all.
Right. All right, you guys, well, that's it for our cruise today in this wonderful E36 M3 Lightweight. It's been a while since I've driven it. It was great to have Tyler out there with me. He knows so much about these cars. He's such a BMW historian. But as a guy that's a typical enthusiast, I love this car. I forgot what a great car it is. When you start looking at all the detail points on this car, you look under the hood, you see the thought that was put into this. And some people gripe about German cars being over-engineered, but I mean, are you serious? We're gonna go drive a car potentially fast, get ourselves into settings that could be, I don't know, maybe a little dangerous, and you're gonna gripe about over-engineering it? I'll take the over-engineering all day long. Absolutely love this car. It's been such a long time since I've driven it, and I forgot just how extraordinary it is. So hope you guys had a good time today with me. I had a blast driving this car. It was fun to shoot with Tyler again. Tyler, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And thanks for supporting the channel, you guys. I love it. The numbers continue to grow. We're gonna keep pushing this thing out there. So thank you. I truly do appreciate it. And I will see you in the next episode. All right, man. Later.